Hey everyone, it's James from FunFoods, and today I'm going to show you how to make this giant peep. Now, if you love peeps, you're going to want to keep watching and see how to make this. Now, I got this recipe from a website called Southern Fatty. I'll put a link in the description below so that way you can check it out. I just altered it a bit just to make it large so that I can make this giant one. And do me a favor, if you know someone who loves peeps as much as I do, make sure you share this video with them. So I appreciate it a lot. But for right now, keep watching and I'll show you step by step how to make this. Also, in a couple days, I'm going to be cutting into this giant peep with a knife that's going to be 1,000 degrees. So you want to make sure that you click that little notification bell on the subscribe page so you'll be notified when that video goes live. Now, the first thing you want to do is start off with a large bowl, and we're going to add to that 3 1/3 cups of water. Next, I have this gelatin, and I'm going to add to that 10 packets of this gelatin. And we just want to give this a light mix. And after you mix this, just set this aside. Next, in a very large pot, we're going to add 10 cups of sugar. And after your 10 cups of sugar, we're going to add 2 1/2 cups of water. Now we just want to mix this up really good, get it all well combined. And when that's well combined, what we're going to do is take this to the stove. We're going to heat it up until it gets to a softball stage, which is about 240 degrees Fahrenheit. While our sugar and water are heating up on the stove, it's going to be a while before it reaches the temperature we want. We can prepare our dish. Now I have this round, it's actually like a roast pan, one of those disposable ones. You can get at any craft store or any baking store. And I have these are some yellow sprinkles, and I'm just going to line the bottom of this with these sprinkles. And this way, this will be ready for when our sugar and water are done. Now, as soon as it reaches its softball stage, that's 240 degrees Fahrenheit, you'll see the liquid is nice and clear. What we're going to do now is take our gelatin mixture and we're going to stir it in. And be careful because this is hot and we're putting cold stuff into very hot liquid. Now you just want to mix this in really good. Just want to smash down those clumps of gelatin that formed. And once it's been mixed in really good after a few minutes, we just want this to cool down a little bit so we can work with it. Because I don't have one of those gigantic mixers, my mixing bowl is quite small. I'm only going to do half of that mixture at a time. So I poured half in here, I left the other half in the container. And what we're going to do is add our whisk attachment and whisk this up until it's nice, white, and fluffy. Now that that's all done mixing, it's not quite at the point I want it at. I need it to cool down a little bit more. You can just leave it out, let it cool down for 10-15 minutes. Now the first layer is pretty easy. I'm just going to take our pan that we prepared earlier, and I'm just going to pour all this out into it, and it should kind of work its way around. So I'm going to pour it out. And scrape every bit out of the bowl. And we're going to mix up our second half of this batch, just like we did the first layer, and put it right on top. Next, what I'm going to do is start off with 2 cups of sugar, a Ziploc bag, this is a big gallon Ziploc bag, and some gel-based food coloring, yellow. What I'm doing is making the icing sugar in case you can't find it in stores where you are, or in case you don't want to buy a whole bunch because it would cost you a lot to buy as much as we're going to use for this thing. Just take your sugar, pour it into the bag, and you want to take a few drops of your yellow gel-based food coloring. Do not use the water-based because water and sugar do not mix. Make sure it's gel-based. Drop a few drops in there. It looks orange at first, but it will turn yellow. Let out as much air as you can and zip it up, and then you just want to work this with your fingers, work it around really good until everything is yellow. And there you go, you made your own icing sugar. Okay, so now I made my second part of that first batch, and I'm just going to pour this in here and cover it up, and hopefully it'll come to the top of this or close to the top of it. And then I'm gonna make a half a batch, which is only 5 cups of sugar, and it's half the ingredients that we used on the first one. And that is gonna be the head and the little bitty tail. And while this is still a little wet, what we wanna do is take our sugar, and I only wanna sprinkle it around half of this because part of it's gonna be the head, and we're just gonna attach it right to there, so no sense of wasting sugar on that. Just take a good handful, and this part's gonna be my tail part. Now for this batch, I let it sit out and firm up a bit more than I did the first batch because this needs to hold its shape as we shape the head of the Peep. So what I have now is a piping bag. It's in a cup just so it'll make it easier for me to fill. I'm gonna fill this up. If you have a bigger piping bag, use that. This is just a 12-inch piping bag. I wish I had something bigger, but I don't have it right now. So I'm gonna fill this up with my little marshmallow stuff. And it should be like a meringue almost. This is all dried up pretty good on here. And I'm gonna draw the head part. So it kind of goes up like this and out. And I'm gonna start from one end and work my way, and hopefully it holds its shape. We will see. First thing I wanna do, I wanna cut a rather large opening to my piping bag. I'm gonna cut it right here. And I'm gonna start at this end, and we're gonna just go like this. Now this is gonna be a very messy process, I can see already. Just have fun with it. And I think what I'll do is use my spatula and try to put some in the middle here just to save some time. Because you gotta build it up in the middle for the head. And I'm just shaping this with an offset spatula. And then I'm going to try to pipe on the beak. It comes to a point, that's why I have this piping bag. And I'm going to try to hold it in. And when you're pretty happy with the shape, now we're just going to top it off with some of our sugar. Now that my Peep is all done, what I'm going to do is actually draw on the eyeballs, and how I'm going to do that is I just have some cocoa powder in here and I have a little bit of water. I'm just mixing it together. I'm using a food safe paintbrush. Don't use just any paintbrush. Make sure it's only for food if you use it. And I'm going to draw the eyeball about in the same spot I see on my little Peep. I've let my giant Peep form overnight so it's a little more firm, and hopefully it'll come out of this big pan without breaking up. Now one of the things I want to do is I'm going to use this offset spatula to just kind of go around the edges just to make sure I can separate from the edge so I can pull it out easier. Okay, so now the moment of truth. I have to get this out. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try to figure it out. Sugar will go everywhere, just a warning. Okay, good. There it comes. Oh, good. Woo! And as soon as you pull it out, we want to go back to our sugar, and we want to put it all in the sides because we weren't able to put the sugar in the sides when it was in the pan. So now it's time for a taste test. I'm going to cut into this and see if it really tastes like a real Peep. So here we go. Now I'm going to give it a taste and see how it tastes. The marshmallow just melts in your mouth just like a Peep, because it is a Peep. It's just a giant Peep. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this giant Peep. It was so much fun making this, and it tasted just like the real thing. You would never have known it was made homemade. You think it was made by the company that made Peeps. It was a lot of fun making this, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Also hit that big red subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. You get new videos every Sunday. And check out the playlist I have off to the side. I'm gonna put my giant recipes playlist off to the side, so you see all my giant creations, whether it's a giant Cadbury Easter egg or, you know, a giant Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. They're all in that playlist. Check it out, and until then, I'll see you next week.